Hey, Michelle. So we've got to get through our samples. Thanks for collaborating with me. Um, First, I'd like to double check them and make sure that we've selected the best portfolio of writing for each kid. Okay, so we can get them ready to hand over to the writers.
All right.
I know this is your first year doing it, so I thought we could do mine and yours together because we're not only going to prep them together, but then we can also do our ratings together. How's that sound?
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
So let's look at our first one. Let's just double check here. Our responsibility for assembling the writing collection. We've got to have at least 5 samples, but I think that Sizemore told us we should have 6 or 7 so that we get a better perspective. So hopefully we have some. I don't know. She's crazy. Something's got to be in the past tense. Okay? And we have to have at least 2 that demonstrate academic writing that come from either math, science, or social studies.
Okay.
All right? Has to happen after February 11th. And it's got to show the kid's current proficiency level. That's kind of hard. But we're going to look for that. Their name and date also. Okay? So let's look at our first.
So if they don't have the name and date, can I go and put it on?
Well, actually, I talked to Dr. Ramos. And she said that in the training, that Aria said that the teacher can go ahead and put the name and the date as long as it matches with the day that it was assigned, the kid was actually there, and they're 100% sure that that's the child's writing.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, so this is our first kiddo, and we're going to open Juanita here. Here, why don't you hold on to this? Let's see what we've got. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Awesome. This looks like this kid's been around for a while because all the writing looks to be pretty lengthy. So let's take a look. Do you see names and dates on everything?
Yes.
Okay. So does she consistently use past tense throughout?
Yes.
All right, so let's put that in our past tense file. You know what? If that one's not sufficient, this one's in the past tense too. They're looking at the Gadsden purchase.
Oh, she has 2.
Yeah, but we can also count this one as an academic sample because it's from social studies.
Perfect.
Cool. So this will be an academic sample, and we can go past tense if we have to.
Okay.
So let's make sure we have at least one more academic from science or social studies. This one's science, but it kind of sounds like a safety manual to me. I don't know if they actually wrote it or they kind of like copied it from around the room. So I'm not real sure about submitting this one because it seems to have too much copied language.
Okay.
Is there something else we can use?
Well, this one's from PE. This one's from math, but it seems very short, and it doesn't reflect all of the writing that I think she's capable of doing.
Yeah, but sometimes in math you write less than you do in language arts,
Okay.
right? So do you think it addresses the prompt? Like, does it explain how to do the problem? Okay, so I think we have 2 that we can't quite use. Let's see what else we have.
Introduction to my room, math in real life, and my favorite sport.
Well, why don't you check out math in real life and see if there's an academic, if that follows the math teaks and has some academic language in it, and I'll check introduction to my room.
Okay, she's using vocabulary such as subtraction, checks, pays, addition, percentage, multiplication.
All right, so that looks like it's probably a good sample. All right, that gives us 2 academic and a past tense. So we just need to kind of round out the sample to show where she has strengths in writing and where she struggles. How are these?
She's describing how to play soccer. She's describing the sport.
Okay.
So it's very descriptive.
So
So we could use this. It does use her, it shows her
her
English
use of language?
Yes. Mhm.
Cool. So then how many do we have overall that we're comfortable with?
So we have 5.
Okay, so we have the minimum. So do we think that there's enough here with these minimums that we're going to get a solid rating? You know, given that she looks like she's pretty advanced and the writing is pretty consistent across the subjects, I'm comfortable with going with 5 with her.
Okay.
What do you think?
I do too.
Perfect. Then let's submit this one for verification. Do you have the cover sheet?
Yep, here it is.
Perfect. We need to get the cover sheet. Make sure that we put her name, her grade level, the number of writing samples. I'm the Telpas rater. You're the additional rater, and we both need to sign. Okay, now let's check. Were there at least 5 samples? Is that correct?
Yes.
Cool. We can sign off as the rater. 1 sample definitely had the past tense, right?
Yes.
Perfect. 2 academic samples. We took care of that. No sample shows evidence of borrowed or copied language or heavy use of reference materials. There was one, but we pulled it out,
Right.
so that was a good call. Okay, so what the samples we're submitting are good. No worksheets, perfect. There was no Spanish at all. They weren't brief or rushed. Well, there was one that was really short, but we pulled it out. Okay. Everything's after February 11th. Everything has a student's name, and there are no corrections. Perfect. Let's go ahead and put this one in the verifier bin. Brand new.
Yes, Joe is brand new.
I wonder if she's even been here long enough to get the samples. I think I've only seen her in class for like the last week or so. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we've at least got the minimum. Well, so about a third of this one is in Spanish.
As well as this one.
Yeah, but it's interesting. She knows when she's using Spanish and shouldn't be because she underlined all the Spanish words. And she's got some good phrases in English between them. I know she's been on our campus for only a week. Do you know how long she's been in country?
No, I'm not sure.
I think we need to find out. We need to ask our LPAC rep. Because if she's only been in the U.S. schools for her first year, then this would be acceptable. But if she's in her second or her third year, it's going to be too much Spanish. What do we see over here? Are they consistent?
All use of Spanish.
Well, this one's completely in English. There's not a single Spanish word in it. But I also have to say there's no academic language. It's about her favorite sport, which is soccer. And it's very routine pattern language. Memorized chunks of language. I think that's what the rubric talks about for beginner. So this would be a very good sample for her, but not an academic sample. What else do we have?
This one's supposed to be descriptive.
Yeah? How'd she do?
Oh, for a beginner, she did okay. I don't think she could have added anything. She used her vocabulary the best that she could. In the
Yeah?
sample.
Looks like she got a little frustrated. It kind of looks rushed. Because there's very little there, right? It's about 50-50. You know what? I think this one shows that she's probably going to be somewhere in the beginner realm, but she's working more to use English. I think on her, we're going to have to go ask for some new samples. I'm thinking we might be able to include this one because there's not a lot of Spanish in here comparatively. And she's using some creative English and more English than Spanish. But these two have more Spanish than English. All right, so we're going to have to go ask these teachers for new samples. We can't submit this one for verification yet. We need to make sure that we get her schedule so we can email the teachers and also let Dr. Ramos know.
Okay.
All right. So this one, unfortunately, is not ready to be verified. We got one more.
Javier.
Okay. Spread them out. Wow, we've only got 4 samples, so that's a concern. Definitely need to get a copy of the student schedule because it should have one writing from each teacher.
We're missing English.
Wow.
We have college and readiness, history, science, and math. So we're missing the 2 English samples, at least for core.
And we have only college and career. We need one from the other elective as well. Okay. So let's make sure that we submit those names. But I think also we're going to need a new science because they didn't even finish. They started, but I don't know if they got called out of class or something, but they stopped this one mid-sentence, and look how much shorter it is than everything else.
You know he's capable of writing more.
Absolutely. So we need to get a better sample. This one would be, what's it say, too brief or rushed? Yeah. All right. So here we've only got 3. All right. Well, then I guess we can only submit 1 for verification. We really need to get on the other samples, or we're not going to be able to rate.